Greetings. I just got home. It's really cold outside. But nobody cares. Let's get straight into the
Okay.
Captain America 4. That's what they'll say in Chinese. 一二三. I really liked it. I like this movie a lot. I think that, spoilers by the way, this entire review is going to be spoilers. I mean, I'm not going to get super hardcore into the story, but I just want you to know ahead of time that if I do touch on story elements, I'm not going to be holding back to restrain myself from spoiling. So you have been warned. What did I like about the movie? I like that it was a little bit of a return to the espionage, kind of anyway. Not as much as Winter Soldier, but you could definitely feel that perhaps was part of the intention in terms of how they wanted the audience to feel or what they wanted the audience to be reminded of, which I liked. I also thought that the acting, I mean, sometimes it's easy to forget that actors are in these movies and some of these actors are really, really talented because of the nature of superhero movies, right? Like oftentimes it's very easy to just think, oh, they're acting in a superhero movie, so they don't need to give Oscar-worthy performances, right? Which is, just, I guess that's true. But I think even in this genre of film, it's good to highlight great acting. And I want to say Harrison Ford did amazingly well. I mean, he's a legendary actor, right? And I also think that actually, speaking of Harrison Ford, I think that the movie did a really good job making the audience, or at least making me, feel somewhat sympathetic to his situation and what was going on and like the backstory. Like the movie was focusing a lot on him, which I didn't expect going into it. So yeah, acting wise, Harrison Ford acted his ass off. Anthony Mackie did a great job. And I also liked the actor that played the OG super soldier serum guy. Isaiah. I know his name in the movie is Isaiah, but I actually don't know the actor's real name. I'll find his real name and I'll stick it somewhere in the video, somewhere where you can see, somewhere. But he did great. There was a scene when they were in the prison and Anthony Mackie's character was talking to him. And even, like, honestly, I had no idea where the story was going, even after the situation happened and he shot at the president at the event and then he's running away because he's not sure what's going on. Well, he's running away because he's like being mind controlled. And then somewhere during that scene, he snaps out of it and he's being surrounded by police. Like, I don't know where the story is going. I'm thinking, damn, this is, are they going to shoot him dead? Is it going to be like a, very reminiscent to certain events that we've seen happen, in real life, or at least in certain parts of America or historical events in America, right? It felt very intentional, like, hey, this is the vibe that we're trying to make you feel. With the police surrounding a black male and then just the optics of that and how that can look and the fact that it's, in America and they got their guns drawn and he's got his hands up and like, I wasn't sure where they were going to go, but it felt very poignant, if that's the correct usage of the word. So I liked that the movie had a lot of elements of that where you could feel. I mean, I think where Marvel is, or any movie really, like, it's not that any movie or all movies have to do this, but I always do appreciate when movies, particularly comic book movies, when they do a good job at drawing a parallel between the fantasy story in the movie and real life, right? Especially because, a lot of the Marvel stories are set in real life places. They're set in New York, they're set in America, or you got heroes from Africa or, Asia, right? So it only makes sense to have storylines that resonate with real history or real current events, right? And I like that the movie did a good job in pointing to some parallels that are currently going on in the world. I mean, I don't know how much of the current political situation in America played into the movie, especially because I believe most of the movie was finished before, long before the current, election that just ended. I do know that the movie went through reshoots, and I believe the reshoots added Giancarlo Esposito's character. Speaking of his character, actually, I would say some critique of the film was that his character seemed, all of the story beats and events around his character felt a bit rushed. And as I say that, I'm like, well, duh, because there were reshoots, right? But not all reshoots. Some reshoots are really well done. You would never even know that story element was included in reshoots. But I feel like these reshoots felt like they felt like reshoots. Even some of the action surrounding the scenes with that character and Anthony Mackie. Well, I keep saying Anthony Mackie's character. Let me just say Captain America or Falcon/Captain America. Some of those scenes weren't that really well choreographed. Some of the story elements as well. Like I wasn't really. I think the story is quite clear. Like it's not like a big brain. You know, you got to be hyper IQ level to understand the story. But I always find it quite frustrating when what's happening on paper is quite easy to follow, but by the way the characters are speaking to each other or just the way that the story is delivered, it makes it unnecessarily complex because the lines are a bit vague, or it's kind of like it's dragging a bit. So you're kind of losing attention, even though what they're saying is not that complicated, but it's happening during a time where not much has happened, and it's just a bunch of cut to this character's face, cut to this character's face, cut to that character's face. You know, there's not much variety, and so sometimes it made some parts of the story a little bit hard to follow because it was boring, for lack of a better term. And I will say the story did definitely drag, or there were points in the film where it felt like it dragged a little bit. I also hadn't watched, I've only seen the first Hulk movie once. So there was a moment in the movie where they were alluding to some events that occurred, I guess events that occurred at the end of the first Hulk movie. But it's been so long since I've seen that I thought they were talking about a Marvel TV show situation that I maybe missed, because I've watched most of the Marvel stuff, but like when they were talking about Abomination and Hulk in New York and something had happened, I'm like, wait, what? Is there a TV thing that I missed? And I spoke to my brother next to me and he's like, oh no, they're actually talking about the first Hulk movie, which I've seen, but it's just been so long ago, right? Which I guess that's a fault of mine. That's not really a fault of the movie. But I bring that up to kind of add that into the whole, there was the slowness, there were some narrative points that weren't really well explained, and then adding that to story beats that are really, really old, and unless you're really plugged in or you did a refresh before coming into the movie by watching some of the old movies, when all these things were combined, with all these powers combined, it made certain parts a bit hard to follow. So I definitely knocked some points away from the movie in that regard. What else did I like? Action. So I'm in two minds about the action. Disclaimer. So I studied animation at university, and so I'm a very, not that studying animation always turns you into this kind of person, but the kind of animation that I enjoy, and through studying it, I'm very much into choreography and cinematography when it comes to how action is filmed. And I bring up my animation background because I do admit that perhaps that makes me a bit more sensitive to certain things that I'm about to describe. But one thing that I didn't like about the movie is that there were pockets of great action with the fight scenes, but there were so many moments where the camera is way too close. Some of the cuts are way too snappy. When if there's two people in a corridor and they're fighting, I should never not know what happened because there's two people in a corridor. It should be quite. There's not like a bunch of other. It's not like what's that movie with Chris Hemsworth? Extraction, right? Where a lot of the crazy combat scenes, there's a whole lot of people involved, right? There's just two people in a corridor. I shouldn't be walking away from that scene, sometimes not knowing, wait, what happened there? Did he take his shoulder? Did he break his arm? Or did he like hit him really hard in the stomach and then he broke his arm? Like it shouldn't be this difficult. And there were a lot of moments in the movie where again, like there would be a fight scene and there'll be moments in the scene that are, oh, that's pretty good. I like that. Awesome, right? But then there were moments within the same fight scene where it's like, okay, what happened there? Like this guy just teleported behind him, nothing personal, kid, and then the fight is over. So, but what I will say is that it felt like the movie makers were like plugged into my brain as I'm watching it, and they retroactively took my feedback and then put all of that feedback into the final fight scene. Because the last fight scene between Hulk and Red Hulk, between Hulk and Cap was quite stellar, I must say. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out that the fight choreographer or whoever was in charge behind the action of the final fight scene is different to the person in charge of the previous fight scenes. I guess I could research it. I don't know if I could easily find the information, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case because it felt like a night and day jump of quality. The camera angles, just the pacing. I love good fight scene pacing. And what do I mean by that? Like just the the sequential storyline of how a fight escalates, how the different power sets are utilized. You know, there's even a callback in the beginning of the movie when it's revealed that, you know, Falcon's wings have like the vibranium technology, the same technology that Black Panther had, where he can absorb energy and release it, right? They show you very early on in the movie that he can do that. So then fast forward to the end fight scene, you know, a bit of visual storytelling where obviously Hulk has got a lot of power, a lot of energy, and he's pummeling Captain America's wings. And then there's even a moment where, like, I guess the idea is that his energy, like Hulk's power is so much that the energy was of the wings were not able to. It made it malfunction. It made it not able to like blast it back in the same way that he did at the start of the movie, which was great, right? It's really cool. So again, yeah, like showing how different powers interact, and let me use this technique. Let me use my drones in this way. Let me focus fire on the wound to make him feel more like it was really really beautifully. It was really really beautifully put together. There's one moment where it's really hard to describe this because it's such a visual thing. But there's a moment where Hulk knocks Falcon. I'm gonna use Cap and Falcon interchangeably, but you know who I'm talking about. There's a moment where Cap knocks himself. Only joking. There's a moment where Hulk knocks Cap through the forest, right? And there's a bunch of like trees falling over and stuff, and like Cap is blocking a lot of the strikes that's coming from Hulk's way. And there's a really nice scene where, because he's in the forest and there's a lot going on, there's leaves and trees everywhere, on top of the fact that he has to worry about this giant red guy that's trying to destroy him. Cap is like blocking a lot of things and like ducking and diving. And there's one moment where I guess he blocks like a really powerful attack from the Hulk. And the way it's filmed, it's like our perspective, we are Cap's head. And he uses a shield to block the strike. So imagine you put your arms in front of you, right? The same way you can't really see, like right now, I can't really see what's in front of me because I'm blocking, right? And the way it was filmed was, it was like a first person view of Cap blocking. And then when he removes the shield, again, keeping the same point of view, he removes the shield and all you see is Hulk, right? Like it was like 6 to 7 frames of just Hulk just right in his face with like the punch. Is just all you see. Like imagine you cut from this and as soon as you look up, all you see smack, and then he just smacks him. It was so well put together, you know, because and it worked effectively as well, because I think before he blocked, Hulk was a lot further away. So then he blocked the thing, and then he looks up. He ain't got no time to react because Hulk's he's in your face. You know what I mean? So yeah, stuff like that. I'm really like nerdy about, and I love to see it, especially because a lot of the action in the MCU, especially when it comes to hand combat, is very hit or miss. You know, Shang-Chi, great stuff. Civil War, I remember Civil War has some really good fight scenes. Like clearly there's whether it's the Russo brothers or certain action stunt choreography people that they bring with them on some of the movies, there's like it's kind of like for anyone who watches anime out there, right? Like there's certain, you know, shonen anime, or if you take Naruto or One Piece or Bleach, right? Like there's certain episodes where they're not using the A-team for this episode. This is like, okay, this is not a really important fight. We ain't got the budget, or we're saving the budget for something else. So the animation is just very, very subpar, let's just say that. And then when they bring out the A-team, it shows, right? Because the fight animation is now movie quality levels, right? And I think the MCU kind of has a similar thing going on. And so while I won't say that Cap 4's fight scenes throughout the whole movie are in the realm of some of the MCU's best combat, I will say that the final fight scene between Red Hulk and Cap is within, I would say, top 5, top 10 set pieces or action scenes in the entire MCU. Definitely, I would say that with great confidence. What else I like about the movie? I also like that the movie did a good job to set up future events, right? I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen the Thunderbolts trailer, which was amazing. Now, after watching this movie, I'm way more excited for the Thunderbolts movie than I would have been otherwise. So I liked that the movie was able to plant some seeds. I also will say, I mean, this is probably due to my lack of knowledge about Red Hulk's origin stories. I had no idea. Like, I knew Red Hulk was in the movie, but I had no idea that the Red Hulk is going to be Harrison Ford's character. I didn't even know. This is going to sound crazy for anyone who's seen it. I didn't even know it was going to be him until that scene when he's on the ship, and then the bad guy is contacting him, and then he's trying to tell him to let his rage out, and then there's a moment where the Red Hulk almost comes out. I'm like, oh shit, I guess he's the Red Hulk. I had no idea. So, and then my brother told me, I asked him at the end of the movie, I was like, wait, was Red Hulk always Thunderbolt Ross in the comics? And was Thunderbolt Ross always the president? And he said, yeah, he was always Thunderbolt Ross, but he was never, the president thing is different, right? But yeah, speaking of bad guys though, the Marvel problem of the bad guy it's not really that interesting. I think that trope definitely struck again. At least they didn't just kill him off this time. But yeah, but then again, sometimes I feel as if sometimes the bad guy's purpose is just to put things in motion, and they do not always need to be the ultimate amazing bad guy to the point where, I like this movie because it's got a great protagonist, a great story, and a great bad guy. I don't think every movie or every superhero movie needs to have a great bad guy in the sense of it's a character that we can sympathize with, or has like a unique quirk, like a great laugh or a great diabolical plan or some great one-liners, right? Those would be nice to have, but I do not believe that every villain needs to fall into that category. So I don't even know if I would say that the bad guy in this movie falling into the trend of not so exciting Marvel movie is necessarily a negative. But if somebody else turned around and said to me, "No, these whack ass bad guys need to get out of here," I wouldn't really push back, because I do think that it's possible that the same movie could have been made with a slightly more interesting antagonist, and nothing would have changed. Like, oh well, it just would have been better, right? Like, it would have changed in the sense that it would be the same movie, but it just would have been enhanced, right? What else? I also like some of the human, touching moments, right? Like, there's a scene, spoilers. I mean, if you're watching this far, you should already know that there's spoilers. But the scene when Bucky joins Anthony Mackie's character in, when he's in the infirmary. What's his name is recovering. Torres is recovering, and that was a nice heartfelt moment. Actually, the tease, how some camera angles you can sense, like, that there was an angle where it's a close up on Anthony Mackie's face, and a character is going to walk from off screen to stand next to him, and then they tease it because somebody says his name or gets his attention, and then Anthony Mackie's like, I want to just leave, like, it's just for me, I don't want anybody to be with me right now. But then the person like ignores him, and then he turns to the side. I thought when that happened, that was going to be Captain America, like Steve Rogers, Chris Evans make a return or something. I don't know why I thought that, because that wouldn't make sense given how Endgame ended, right? But yeah, like, when I saw Bucky, I'm like, oh yeah, they did have a whole TV show together, and they are pretty close. So I'm surprised he's only coming into the movie now. The movie's about Anthony Mackie's character, right? So I think having Bucky earlier or throughout the movie would have taken away from the fact that this is not his movie. But yeah, there are a lot of good moments like that, not just between Falcon and Bucky's character, but also between Cap and Torres' character. So overall, I thought the movie was quite good. I haven't really thought if I want to do, like, for those who don't know, if you're just tuning into this video because you're not sure who I am not really a movie review streamer or content creator. I mostly do Twitch stuff, playing video games and just talking about all kinds of nonsense on Twitch. So if you're into that, by the way, check me out, twitch.tv/EarthbenderCharlie. Come say hi. But yeah, I don't know if I want to do like ratings, like, oh, this movie gets a 7 out of 10 or 3 out of 7 stars or 2 out of 9 Earthbender rocks, right? I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, because perhaps I would like to do some more reviews in the future. Have you seen the movie? If so, what did you think? Comment below so I can read and be like, that guy is talking absolute nonsense. Let me delete his comment. Only joking, that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, feel free to share your perspective. Would love to get a little discussion going to see what other people think. I'm sure there's stuff I missed. I'm sure there's elements of the movie that I completely didn't consider in terms of making it better or making it, making my perspective even worse. Who knows? I will only know once I check out your comments. Anywho, thanks for watching. Stay safe, sleep well, eat well, drink well, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.